melintas sempadan desa dan juga kota. Segenap pelusur hutan belantara hingga ke indahnya taman bandaraya. Demi pembangunan yang tidak terharap, mari bersatu dan bekerja sama melaksanakan impian rakyat semua. Berpegang teguh pada visi dan misi kita, membangunkan Sarawak negeri tercinta. Berkorban tanpa berbelah hati demi tugas serta amanah negeri. Sebagai agensi pemuda pembangunan tanah negeri, terus berbakti menunaikan janji. Terus berbakti menunaikan janji. Terus berbakti menunaikan janji. Dari dataran rata kami jejaki, ke lembah curam turun kami turuni, setinggi-tinggi gunung gagah didaki, sedalam sungai sanggup diredahi. Merentas sempadan desa dan juga kota, segenap pelusur hutan belantara hingga ke indahnya taman bandaraya. Demi pembangunan yang tidak terharap, mari bersatu dan bekerja sama melaksanakan impian rakyat semua. sempadan desa dan juga kota. Segenap pelusur hutan belantara hingga ke indahnya taman bandaraya. Demi pembangunan yang tidak tara, mari bersatu dan bekerja sama, melaksanakan impian rakyat semua. Berpegang teguh pada visi dan misi kita, membangunkan Sarawak negeri tercinta. Berkorban tanpa berbelah hati demi tugas serta amanah negeri. Sebagai agensi pemuda pembangunan tanah negeri, terus berbakti menunaikan janji.
Ya, berbahagia Datuk, tuan-tuan dan puan-puan yang saya hormati sekalian. Terima kasih kerana kembali semula and for waiting also. Baiklah, tanpa melengahkan masa lagi, majlis kita diteruskan dengan penampilan salah seorang selebriti dan juga penceramah pertama kita pada hari ini. Walau bagaimanapun, sebelum itu, majlis saya ataupun saya sendiri ingin membawa anda semua, okay, in a way, I want you, all of you, to pay attention to this video first. Okay, so before that, before the video, the topic of the talk will be mental health. Don't struggle in silence. Please play the video.
Dengar program ni dapat pujian. Tahniah.
Ranti Syakib Bel.
Jahanam kau Sarul.
Keputusan yang lama aku buat, cuma kau je tak boleh terima.
Yang tak boleh terima. I tak faham jenis macam you tau. No. And welcome to my city. Modern, technologically advanced. Saksikan corak-corak raya AF ke-6 bersama Ibrahim. Anda bersama saya. Hai, anda bersama saya. Anda bersama saya. Hello, anda bersama saya. Anda bersama saya. Saya Ibrahim dan dengan tangkap. It doesn't get much bigger than this.
It was buzzing at the Biggest Loser Asia auditions in Malaysia.
I want to be Asia's first Biggest Loser.
Our host, Sarima Ibrahim, was there to lend her support.
The sun, sand and sea. Jangan pause oleh AF bersama saya. Terakhir buat persembahan malam ini ditirai air. You're going to plate some of the dishes that will be available at Taste MIGF.
Yeah.
Keabadian cinta. Ciptaan Azlan Abu Hassan dan lirik oleh Ishak Ahmad ataupun Ucu. Dipersilakan Era Fazira dengan Hanya di Mata. Kita campuran Johor ada, orang Batu Pahat, Banjar, lepas tu Mak Ireland, lahir kat Dublin tapi tetap jiwa Malaysia.
Pemenang bagi anugerah artis baru terbaik AIM 2002 ialah
Sarima.
here we go, from the Republic of the Philippines. Make some noise and raise the roof of this auditorium now. Welcome, please.
Ikon berkumpulan daripada Filipina, kuat!
Sarima can also sing, dance and host and do also karate. She do that.
Pilates is it allows me to get like a cardio workout and at the same time it's a strengthening workout.
Menghayati kehidupan.
Hello, who's on the line? Good morning. What? Thomas, this is Sarima. My car's being clamped. I'm so sorry.
Announcing the arrival of Tansri, Tony Fernandez has arrived in the studio right now. We're Rod and I. Tansri, please get to the table. Please get to the mic. Thank you.
So you've got your clothing line. You know, you're a business. You're an entrepreneur. You're an artist. You're a wife. You're
kepada Sarima Ibrahim yang baru saja bergelar isteri kepada Tunku Nazimuddin Tunku Muzaffar.
Ke serbuk dynamo baru mengatasi cabaran baru? We're gloriously normal looking and happy. Okay. Tahun dah kahwin, pandai masak.
Can't even sleep at night. I just need to have you by my side. I got you on my mind, you on my mind, and all I do is think of us. Tell me that my love's enough.
Yang mungkin Izara boleh kongsi dengan kita hanya
ajarkan juga orang kata punya.
Okey, sini Mawar. Kita akan tukar pada Mawar. Mana dia? Nak campak tutup. Itu yang aku. Aku dapat dia datang sini.
Dia mencerminkan kita punya peribadi.
And then when you believe that about yourself, well then you will develop a life that shows that back to you. Yes.
Ataupun mengalami sesuatu trauma macam car accident.
State of mind will determine whether or not you can stay in that situation.
Saya teruja dengan statement anda untuk kikiskan stigma bunuh diri.
Kita akan lebih terbuka untuk meminta bantuan sebelum kita lakukan sesuatu yang mungkin dikesali.
Suicide Prevention Day yang mungkin boleh resonate dan semua orang boleh relate ya dengan sama ada dari segi cinta ataupun loss.
Up, cause girl you want me
Ladies and gentlemen, she is a TV host, mental health advocate and transformational coach. Dipersilakan, Cik Puan Salima Ibrahim.
Assalamualaikum. Hai. Good morning. Jabatan Tanah dan Servis Sarawak. I'm so happy to be here today. Wah, semua pakai suit tiba-tiba. Rasa macam tengah malam pula. Padahal pukul 10 pagi kan. Assalamualaikum. Good morning. Selamat pagi. I'm going to be here for the first half of today, but don't worry, it's not going to be too serious. First and foremost, I would like to say a very big welcome. Yang berbahagia Datuk Abdullah bin Julaihi, Pengarah Tanah dan Servis Sarawak. I was watching earlier, I was listening. Sambil buat makeup dengan rambut, I was listening to all your comments. I was like, yes, that's the one, Datuk. Yes, that's the one. Especially when you were encouraging tentang mental health and motivation and how we need to work together. So I really appreciated that. Yang berusaha Encik Awang Zamhari bin Awang Mahmud, of course. Timbalan Pengarah Pengurusan Tanah dan Servis Sarawak merangkap pengerusi Jawatan Kuasa Pengelola Landas Summit 2022. Finally, we have an event. Finally, we are here. Alhamdulillah, we made it. We're still alive. We are still breathing. This is the most valuable thing in our lives right now, even if we don't realize it, to actually be here today, this morning. And of course, pegawai-pegawai kanan dan seluruh warga Jabatan Tanah dan Servis Sarawak. So I am, sorry my Ibrahim, I feel very strange calling myself Cik Puan, dia jadi sangat formal, so I still call myself sorry my Ibrahim or Kak Mah, some people call me. But some people call me Kak Mah Gali from AF, which is a bit strange lah. Like, you know, I'm a little bit old for that now. Although I'm only 24, 44 actually, but it's okay. Thank you for having me as part of Landas Summit. This is day 1. So I'm really excited. I got here yesterday. It's the first time that I've flown in 3 years. Terkejut. I was like, Kamit terkejut. Kita pun terkejut tengok saya kan. Tengok Kamit. So as I was coming in, I said, wow, what a nice trip to make for the first time in 3 years. The last time I was on a plane, I was not a mother. So this is the first time I flew as a mother. Cik, rasa suka ni. Bahagia dapat seorang. At least for one day kan. Ada peace sekejap kan. But it was wonderful to come in and see the sea. Wow, I got to see the sea. And for all of your information, my family actually lived in Miri for a few years, and I never got to see them back then. I was too busy working. But I've been to Kuching many times. So I'm very excited. Thank you for having me. So today I'm going to be sharing my journey and some tips that I've gathered with regards to confidence, communication and healing. So first I would like to ask all of you to relax. Don't be worried. I know the topic agak berat. Bila kita dengar je orang cakap pasal mental health, semua macam aku bukan, aku tak mental, aku okey. Padahal dalam tu aku mental sebenarnya. And there's nothing wrong with it. That's what I want you to take away from today. We are human beings. We are not human doings. Ada beza. Human being and a human doing. Our value is not based on what we do. It is based on who we are, how we are, what do we do to each other, to ourselves. So, to start this off, I would like you to turn to the person on your left, and I would like you to look at them first. Korang jangan duduk je pandang depan. Kena pandang juga orang yang duduk sebelah. Ada respect sedikit. You see that person next to you? Is a man, a woman? Is it a colleague? Is it a friend? Is it somebody you don't like? Or is it somebody that you like? Kau jangan tiba-tiba buat hal. Okay, so when you look to the person on your left, I would like you to tell the person on your left something about yourself. One fact, something. It doesn't matter what it is. Aku suka makan durian. Ke apa nak cerita? Aku memang suka dengan kau. Dah 10 hari dah aku tak cerita dengan kau. Dah 10 tahun aku tengok engkau, aku suka engkau, tapi aku tak cerita. Oh, aku sebenarnya tak suka kat engkau, tapi tak apalah, kita boleh work together. Whatever it is, you turn to the person on your left and you tell them something about yourself right now. Okay, I give you 1 minute. Jangan nak ngorat tiba-tiba korang buat hal. Jabatan Tanah dan Survey. Sebenarnya dalam hati tu mensurveykan orang yang duduk sebelah. Bukan nak cari tanah, nak cari pasal. Itu jangan. Okay. Kalau isteri orang kau jangan pandang sebelah sana pula. Okay. So, have you told each other something about yourself? Don't be shy. If there's nobody on your left, tell somebody on your right. Jangan buat alasan. Ada yang looking forward at me, Encik yang pakai suit tu, tengok aja saya. Mentang-mentang saya kat sebelah your left. Okay, you tell me something about yourself now. You're shy I know, I can see. Okay, on your left or your right? Okay dah. Now, I would like to ask for a volunteer. Somebody, anybody, it doesn't matter, we're all human beings Kau handsome ke tak handsome ke apa, kami tak kisah. Please, would you tell me something you found out about the person next to you that was very interesting? The microphone tu ada kat situ, you just grab it. Kalau tak, I will go down, I will grab you. Oh, malu korang memang nak mati ni. Kami turun ambil korang. You think you can get away with it, but you know me, right? I've had 25 years of experience. You think I'm going to let you off with this Jabatan Tanah dan Survey? Sekarang aku survey korang pula. Kami nak survey kita. Okay. Hello. What's your name?
Vivilin.
Babylin ke? Maybe it's Maybelline. Mana satu?
Vivilin.
Oh, Vivilin. Vivi Yusof guna Maybelline jadi Vivilin. Okay. What did you learn about the person next to you, dia?
Dia kata dia handsome.
Amboi! Dia kata dia handsome. Itu adalah satu fakta yang orang tak tahu pasal dia. Jelas, tapi tak apa. Hello, apa khabar? Nama kami siapa?
Mixi.
Nama kita siapa?
Mixi.
Mixi single ke tak mingle?
Dah kahwin.
Dah kahwin. Ingatkan kata nak kahwin. Oh, dah kahwin, tapi bukan dengan Vivilin lah. Oh, tapi kenapa cerita dengan Vivilin? Saya handsome. Kau jangan buat hal. Nak survey lah katanya. Okay, dia kata dia handsome. And what did you tell the person next to you, Vivilin? Saya cantik. What did you tell him?
Saya bersemangat hari ini.
Saya bersemangat hari ini. Thank you. Kita berikan tepukan. Okay. No, it's good that you told him that. Because maybe he cannot tell that you ada semangat hari ini. Because pakai mask kan, tak nampak, mata je nampak. Okay, kita cari brother-brother yang nampak macho. Nampak macho tapi sebenarnya tak macho langsung. Tapi nak nampak macho. Assalamualaikum. Nama siapa? Nyanggau. Suka nama. Okey, apa yang Nyanggau dapat tahu tentang kawan ataupun rakan di sebelah tadi? Adakah sesuatu yang menarik atau tidak? Apa dia ceritanya? Ada dia kata apa-apa?
Suka makan ikan.
Dia suka makan ikan? Okey. Pelik juga cerita dengan orang pagi-pagi, aku suka makan ikan. Okey, aku mengharapkan nanti lunchtime ada ikan. Pagi tadi tak ada, aku tak suka. Kita suka makan ikannya.
Cerita pasal ikan tadi.
Oh, bercerita pasal ikan cover line. Okay. Lepas tu, what did you learn about the person next to you?
Dia pakai komputer.
Dia pakar komputer. Amboi. Engkau makan ikan je, aku pakar komputer. Nah, ambil engkau. You see, this is human beings. We are not human doings. We have a lot to share with each other actually. It's just that we don't tell each other a lot of things about each other. Actually, I could spend the whole day going round. I'm telling you, you find out a lot of things about each other. So today, as you saw in the video tadi, I have been an entertainer for more than 25 years. Some of you may know me, some of you may not know me. If you don't know me, I tak tahu gua mana kita tinggal. I got success that's bigger than even I can imagine. Status, popularity. Alhamdulillah, I made money. I don't come from a background that was easy. My father married my mother in Ireland when she was 18. Then they had me when she was 21. They moved back to Malaysia. We lived in a one-bedroom flat, maybe the same size as just this small area here. And my father had very little money, but he loved my mother so much. He told her, please leave Ireland and come back with me. I will give you a good life. I have nothing now, but I can give you a good life. But my mother had to sacrifice so much. She had to convert to Islam. She had to learn the culture, budaya at 21 years old. And I remember my earliest memory of Malaysia is waking up with lipas on my face. That's my earliest memory because the room was so small, the toilet was in the room, and it was just a small house, and it was a small beginning. We were very humble. But my father became very successful with a lot of hard work and dedication. And my mother, as they always say, behind every strong man is a very strong woman, alhamdulillah. And they made it. They made it all the way and to success, alhamdulillah. And that was one of the motivators for me in my life. When I was going through the lowest points in my life, I said, if my dad can make it and my parents can make it and they're still together today, alhamdulillah, I can do it too. So I just wanted to share that bit of information because a lot of people don't know where my background is. They perhaps think, okay, Sarimah ni orang kaya, mesti dah lama dah dari kecil lagi senang kan. But there's a lot of story behind it. We'll get into that. So, yes, I got more than I could imagine. But our imagination is a very tricky thing as human beings. It can be positive and negative, and it can work against us too. So I studied psychology in college. I continued my self-growth journey in psychology until today. I have experienced mental health issues. I had depression. When I say depression, I don't mean I rasa sedih sekejap tau. I mean I thought I was going to die type of depression. And it happened to me after I gave birth. I had postnatal depression. I thought I was fine. After 3 months, I woke up on the ground. I was crawling on the ground in my room, crying, and I couldn't think. And I said, Sarimah, you are losing yourself, you are losing your mind. This is it, this is the end of your life. Maybe Allah wants to take you now. Your child is only 3 months old, you better hold on. And I couldn't stop thinking. This was when I told myself, you need to get help. And when I got help, I realized it was not that I was weak. I felt I was weak, but I was actually very strong. Because to ask for help is the most difficult thing to do as a man or as a woman. And my husband helped me. And then I made sure when I got better, alhamdulillah, that he got help too. Because we are human beings, ma. We are not robots, we are not machines. We are built to be there, to be connected with each other. So I managed to come out of the grips of depression with a lot of help. But through the years, through the healing process in 2019, through medication for 6 months, therapy 3 times a week. This is me, okay? Somebody with a background in psychology. Someone who's confident, successful, married to a wonderful man. Me, if I can end up on the ground, in my room, crying and shaking, praying to God, what's happening to my life? I don't know what's coming. This will tell you that it can happen to anybody. Anybody boleh kena. And it doesn't mean there's something wrong with you. It just means that your body is telling you, I had enough. Sometimes our body akan bagi kita message, tapi kita tak boleh terima. And the message akan datang dengan perasaan gementar, sweaty, migraine, tak boleh tidur. Ini semua sign-sign dia. But we'll get into that later. So I decided to talk about this today because I wanted to make it normal. Because kat Malaysia ni stigma kita sangat-sangat teruk when it comes to mental health. Mental health, don't struggle in silence. I'm serious, don't. Because if you do, it might become too late. So why are we having this talk for today? To provide a background on the state of mental health in Malaysia. As the patron of MIASA 2021, I learned a lot. I worked with many NGOs, including AWAS, which is the awareness against suicide, and many, many others. So I've seen firsthand what happens to us as Malaysians, men and women, and what is happening. We're going to talk about the importance of mental health as a whole, as individuals and at work. We're going to discuss some tips for the employees and for you guys, the heads of departments, the bosses, the people higher in the hierarchy. And we'll talk about how we can foster resilience. So let's take a look. Okay, we look at this first. Just have a read. Now, this is something that we don't believe as Asians. Hey, mental health got nothing to do with physical health, ma. I'm physically fine. Look at me. Well, look at all the celebrities in Korea or Hollywood, and look at me, and look at some people that you may know that you never suspected would endure a mental health condition or break down or commit suicide. Did they look like people that were going to commit suicide? Did they look like people who were crazy? No. I'll tell you something. It's not the people who ask for help that we need to worry about. It's the people that don't ask for help that we need to be worried about. This is a fact. Every 40 seconds in the world, someone dies by suicide. And every 41 seconds later, whoever finds them is wondering why. World Health Organization reports that depression is one of the leading causes of disability. You can die prematurely if you don't fix your mental health. And in Malaysia, 44% of Malaysians said their mental wellness has been affected since the pandemic. Of course, people losing their jobs, halving their salary, losing their families, divorce rates have increased. Children are being more abused because the parents don't know how to cope with the trauma and they're getting it out on the children. And then the children are going to school and bullying each other, or the people at home are cyberbullying, which was mentioned earlier this morning. We're cyberbullying each other to death because we're angry and we don't know what to do with the anger. And this is a big problem that we face. I'm sure Sharifah and Michelle, I'm not sure where they are. Can I see you guys? You may know them, you may not know them. They are there for you. The counselors will understand that we do not have enough mental health or health awareness, individuals, health, people in the mental health sectors. We are nowhere close to what is needed in Malaysia. And I'll tell you why. Because when we grow up, did your parents say to you, hey, Mat, kau bila besar nanti kau jadi psycho psychologist tu or kau jadi psychic kau boleh baca minda orang psychic tau. We always confuse it. We don't take it seriously. Kalau nak jadi doktor bagus, tapi jangan jadi doktor psychologist. Itu untuk orang gila je. But we need it. We need it as a society, as part of the Asian culture. It is not a job that's seen as important because it's only for crazy people. But let me tell you something. I was not crazy. I was just in pain. Have a look at this. Depression has swelled 25% globally. And that includes us, of course. Some statistics for you to know, in case you didn't think it was serious enough. 300 million people worldwide experiencing depression. Now, let me just divert a bit and ask all of you here. Who here has experienced a stressful event? Please put your hands up. Any stressful event. Someone died that you know, you had a divorce, or someone you know had a divorce, or you moved house, or you're about to move house. Anybody? Hands up, please. Anybody ever been very sick? Wah, 3 orang aja pernah very sick. Okay. Anybody been, anyone had somebody they love die? Auntie, uncle, grandmother, grandfather. Anybody here jatuh cinta and then heartbroken? Who's been heartbroken? Korang jangan tiba-tiba. What? All of you have never been heartbroken? Come on lah korang. I've been heartbroken so many times. So many times people broke up with me. Do you know that? You won't believe it, but it's true. And how many times have we broken people's hearts? That's another question, kan? Bila tanya tu semua senyum. Walaupun pakai mask, saya nampak mata semua. Tak baik tau. So, as we continue on, not a funny fact, but important. It's 1 to 2 reported every day. But this is only what we know of. I would put it, Sharifah, Michelle, maybe double, triple, quadruple. We don't know. That's the sad thing. Now let me ask you a question. When I talk to you about committing suicide, let's talk about it openly. Yeah? Committing suicide to most people is, I'm going to take something and hurt myself. And then I'm going to die. Now, let me ask you about committing suicide. It doesn't say, I've done suicide. It's committing, in the process of it. Committing is, I'm doing it. Betul tak? Kan? That means belum jadi, kan? Bukan committed. Committing. Committed to killing a part of yourself, be it your soul or your body. Many of us are workaholics. Some of us could be alcoholics. Some of us could be heavy smokers. Some of us like to go racing. Some of us are shopaholics online. Wah kau gitu, ha? Klik, 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 satu lagi. Okay? Some of us keep going in and out of relationships dengan orang yang memang bermasalah. Nampak orang tu, Allah, dia ni memang, dia perlukan aku. Dia perlukan aku. Aku yang akan selamatkan dia. Dapat pahala. Okay, what has all of that got to do with committing suicide? You are inviting a situation to yourself where you are slowly killing yourself. So all of us in some way are in this process of not taking care of ourselves, not valuing ourselves, with the choices we make, the addictions we have. It is a form of neglect to yourself. So don't only think of self-harm as, aku nak terjun, aku nak gantung. No. Every time somebody gets in a car after a heavy night drinking, sits in that car and drives, is that not committing suicide? In a sense, you are taking a risk with your life whereby you could lose your life and others. Jadi, kita jangan stigma kepada mereka yang cliche what we put as committing suicide or self-harm, because all of us could be guilty of it in some way or another. So here are some of the symptoms that you might be familiar with. I hope not, but most of us have. So can I go through them with you? Maybe you notice it in yourself. Maybe you notice it in the people you love. Cepat marah. Cepat marah, as mentioned by Dr. Abdullah this morning. Angry outburst. Sekejap okay. Kejap meletup macam nak bunuh orang. Skipping work. Oh, tak sihat lah hari ni. I'm not feeling well. Weight gain, tiba-tiba badan naik, or weight loss. Reckless behavior. I don't care, I'm not wearing my seatbelt. I don't care, I'm going to go drinking, then I'm going to drive. I don't care, I'm going to have that affair. No hobbies, no exercise. I have no time lah. Doesn't matter. As long as I get my job done, that's all that matters. Is it all that matters, or are you running away from something? Okay? Can I have a show of hands if you've seen or experienced any of these symptoms in yourself or a colleague or somebody you know of? Please put your hands up. I will definitely put my hands up. In yourself or colleagues or anybody. Doesn't mean you, it can be anybody you know, family, your parents, your family, your sisters. Okay, so we all see it. Now the question is, what do we do about it? So here are some of the things. How can we help each other? Okay? We know what's going on. We've seen the symptoms. What are some of the things we can do to help each other? First things first. No more judgment. Hey, you, why are you so fat, What's wrong with us, as Malaysians? Why are you so fat, Hey, why your face like that, Hey, you look tired, Yeah, I'm tired. You're telling me it's not going to make it any better, right? Hey, why? Why your wife like that? Hey, why? Why you so lazy? Why are you so lazy? Why are you like this? Why are you like that? Why? Can we please do something? If we do anything today, can we remove why are you? And focus on the behavior, not the person. I am not a lazy human being. I am not a stupid human being. You are not a useless human being. The behavior that the person's doing may be the issue, but never the person. Because the more we do that to each other, the more we are pressing each other down. How do we communicate? You cannot go direct to someone and say, I see you every day, you skip work, then you come to work, then your face is so down, then you look so angry, then you don't even want to talk to us. What's wrong with you? You're crazy, yeah. Obviously, that's not going to work. The best thing you can do if you see a colleague or a family member like suffering in some way is to say, you okay? Yeah? If you need anything, I'm here. Huh? You can message me or you can tell me privately, but I'm here. No pressure. That's the best thing we can offer each other actually, day to day. And if they say, why you nak ngorat I? They say, maybe, but I'm still here. Okay, and of course, we have the Talian Sokongan. I believe in Kuching there are many resources. I'll get to that later. And there's also associations like Miasa, Naluri, and many more. The reason why I'm getting into this, okay, I know it's a bit heavy for a morning, but you've had your breakfast, so no excuses. Most of the time, if your boss or your staff do something to annoy you or let you down, it's not actually what they do or say that's letting you down. There's something in you that's triggered by what they did or what they said. Just have a think about that. Yes, there's rules. Yes, there's KPIs. Yes, there's numbers and targets. But why are you as an individual so affected by what the person said or did? Your wife, your husband, your staff. Why were you so triggered? This is where we come into trauma. When I say trauma, a lot of people will be like, Malay drama lah, biasa lah, Chinese drama, Indian drama, all the types of dramas in the world. Amma! Mother won't let me be with this person, father won't let me be with this person lah, husband went did this lah, the mother-in-law trying to destroy your life lah. Okay, no. I'm not talking about those kind of traumas. I'm talking about trauma that's very small in your life since you were a child, since I was a child, that made us feel we are not good enough. Maybe you achieved something at school, you ran home to your father or your mother and they said, hey, I got no time lah. Got no time. Hey, why you only got B, you didn't get A? Or you went to somebody you loved and they said, it's not me, it's you. You are useless. It's not me. These are small traumas in our life that leave effects on us. And let me show you this. The word trauma comes from the Greek word wound. I am wounded. Men and women, I am wounded by something that happened. The problem with trauma is, in a community or in an organization, if all of us here in this room, which we do, carry some form of trauma, anything I say now to you may be interpreted to you as very offensive, but said to this table of people as fine. Based on your childhood and your upbringing, if I say something that traumatizes you because it triggers your past, you will be very affected by this. And your imagination will go all over the place and you will start assuming, sorry, Ma's putting me down. Sorry, Ma thinks I'm not good. Sorry, Ma thinks I'm not smart enough. Whereas this table of people might say, okay, fair enough what she said. And this in an organization can create this tension. And I don't understand him or her. Why is she like that? So let's look into this a little bit deeper. When you are carrying trauma in your body, as I was for many years, and I did not know I was until I had the mental breakdown in 2019. I did not know I was carrying so much trauma. To share a bit with you about my history. My father being Malay, my mother Irish, two different styles of upbringing, okay? One, no emotions. The other one, overly emotional. Father is Malay Chinese, silent, smiling, and then take out the rotan and that's it. You better run. Mother, crying, Irish, emotional connections, there for you emotionally. Very different styles. My point being, you can relate to me. Asian cultures, we don't have a place for emotions. You just get on with it lah. Be grateful lah. Got money, got food, got clothing. What more do you want? How many people have heard that from your parents? What more do you want? What more do we want? We want connection. I need to know you value me as a human being. I value you as a human being, not as a human doing. Does it matter how much money I make, what status I have, or how many A's your child gets in school? Does that determine how great a human being they are? It shouldn't. When we are focused on achievement only as a goal in our life, it is an external dependency. Means you are hoping all the time that somebody or something outside of you will give you your worth. And when that person no longer gives you that, you feel you are nobody, and that makes you susceptible to depression and many physical illnesses, heart attack, cancer, diabetes, huge correlation with mental health issues. Now, if you're traumatized, you are not here right now. You're not here right now. You are all present, 150 of you or so, and I'm here. But if you have been traumatized and you haven't dealt with your past, only half of you maybe is actually listening to me right now. Because the other half is dealing with coping and repressing the feelings and thoughts that you really have. So you're not able to be present. Now I'm going to ask a show of hands. How many people here in this room have seen a doctor? Just a doctor. Like flu, demam, fever. Everybody? Like everybody lah. Okay. How many of you have seen a counselor? Seriously? Like honestly, how many of you have spoken to Sharifa or Michelle or somebody outside? Okay, how many of you know somebody who's spoken to a counselor? Okay, thank you. Two people have put their hands up. Thank you for being able to express this without any fear. What's the difference between a gastroenterologist, a heart specialist, and a psychiatrist? They're helping you to maintain your health, make sure you don't go off track, and keep you straight on the line so you can perform better as a human and at work. Okay? You are not upset about what you think you're upset about. That's what I was referring to earlier. Your mind is tricking you into believing that you are upset because it's trying to make sense of what the boss said. If the boss said this, maybe they don't respect me. They don't respect me, talking down to me. No, something happened in the past to you that's making you believe that. If you pause, reflect a little bit on your past, you will be able to look at it a bit more objectively. I guarantee you, I've been there. We don't see things as they truly are. We see them as we are. If you're in a good mood that day, somebody come and tell you, why your face like that? Because I'm so happy. I'm so happy. That's why my face is like this. But if you're in a bad mood that day and someone says, why your face like that? Bloody hell. So disrespectful one. I'm going to find something about him later. I'm going to bring it up later. And next week, I'm going to get him. I'm going to get him bad. You see the difference? So it's not about what somebody says to you or does to you. It's you in that present moment. How are you doing that moment it happens? And this is true. Not everything we face can be changed. We can't change our family. We can't change our parents. We can't change the past. It's gone. But if you don't face it in yourself, you can't change how you react. Please have a look at this video.
The richest society in history, fully half of the citizens have a chronic disorder such as high blood pressure or diabetes. Anxiety amongst young people is growing rapidly. Asthma and autoimmune diseases are on the rise, as are addictions.
Depression is rising. Youth suicide is rising.
All is not well.
I started heroin at 26. That's what really destroyed me. It just takes the pain away.
It's easy to want to escape reality completely instead of coping with it.
And so the question is, can we be human beings in the midst of civilization? Because what we call civilization demands the denial of human needs.
Please welcome Dr. Gabor Mate.
Every human being has a true, genuine, authentic self. And the trauma is that disconnection from it, and the healing is the reconnection with it.
Why do we get disconnected? Because it's too painful to be ourselves.
So you sort of a bit like in The Matrix when Neo sees everything's made out of numbers. You look at people and you see all their trauma and damage.
That's what I see. So trauma is not the bad things that happen to you, but what happens inside you as a result of what happens to you. What do you want to tell me? What comes up right now?
Shame.
Thank you.
My father, he would spank us and take a belt to us.
Who did you speak to about your pain?
Nobody.
Yeah, that's the trauma. In other words, by the time you're 5 years old, you're completely alone. People are much more lonely and isolated than they used to be. Literally, it causes inflammation in the body and suppresses the immune system. You've been diagnosed with prostate cancer.
Correct.
In my view, people that develop cancer have a hard time expressing healthy anger.
Hillary Clinton versus Donald Trump, there were two traumatized people fighting to govern a traumatized world.
That's exactly what I'm saying. And these are the people that our society rewards with power. Our schools are full of kids with learning difficulties, mental health issues that are trauma-based, but the average teacher never gets a single lecture on trauma.
We need trauma-informed medical care. Trauma-informed education.
If we had a trauma-informed society, we'd have a society that looks much more compassionate.
You did. You made a difference in my life.
Thank you for being in touch.
I don't feel like I'm a bad person anymore. Hey, how are you?
Yeah, I just want people to see the truth. Solutions arise out of people when they confront themselves with the truth, when they're not afraid of the truth.
I think the biggest thing that this whole healing journey has taught me is how to be human.
If you have time, do take a look at that. The Wisdom of Trauma. It's Dr. Gabor Mate. He's a physician and author and a specialist in trauma and mental health issues, and he's worked with so many people, drug abuse, etc., people who've been through extreme situations of stress, and he himself actually was in a concentration camp when he grew up. The reason why I showed this video is because as bosses or managers and people who are slightly higher in the hierarchy within an organization, we forget to humanize the people that we work with or who work with us. We often say, this person's under this department, under me, under. This word under by itself is already patronizing. It puts a person in a place below you in terms of their worth, their input, or their achievement. So it is a culture that we need to change in Asia, this under culture. If we could perhaps use the word together or with, and become more inclusive, I believe people's brains would open up and be more open to working together and finding solutions, which is what's needed by organizations and company. So, with your work, I understand land, tanah, satu topik yang sangat sensitif. It deals with human emotion, history, heritage, ownership, pride, dignity. How do you deal with people with something that's so personal to them without offending? You be genuine. You be vulnerable. You show empathy. Don't put a face on. Don't use words like should, could, because that is belittling and shows you're not listening. Let me talk a little bit about self-esteem. In order to talk to people about land or anything that personal, you need to be able to be confident in yourself, in your true self. And to do that, you need to have a healthy self-esteem. So there's a link between low self-esteem and mental health conditions. Poor self-esteem, when you tell yourself, I'm not good enough, not pretty enough, not rich enough, not anything enough, actually can lead to depression. And then when you have this depression, it comes across when you're dealing with the clients or your customers or the pegawai-pegawai that works with you. They can see it. You can read a person, whether they're being genuine or not. And whether we like it or not, that affects the business. It affects the outcome. If I feel I can't trust you, I already shut down. I'm not listening. I'm not listening. Now, in our society, let me just address something. We like to place a lot on body image. Nak cantik, nak putih, nak kurus, nak handsome, nak nampak penting. But you know something? If we always focus on the external, the more we do that, the more masks we put on. The more we forget our true selves. And that's why we feel empty. Anybody in this room ever feel like, there's something about, I don't feel okay. Like, I don't know why. I have job, I have money, but I feel stressed and I don't know why. Anybody here feel that way sometimes? That feeling, kan? Yeah, thank you for those of you who can agree with that. It's that feeling of, I don't know who I am, because your dependency is on external validation. So let's look at how we can have a healthy self-esteem. Firstly, what are you good at? And we need to talk to our colleagues and our staff and the people who work with us about this more. Let the focus be on strengths and not just improvement. Building a positive relationship. How do you do that? By being honest with yourself. You talk to your colleague, you talk to your staff, and you say, hey, I'm having a bad day. It's not easy for me too. How are you doing? What can we do together? Together. Being kind to yourself. Stop overworking yourself. More hours doesn't mean more productivity. More responsibility in adding on 25 businesses on the side while you're doing your job and you're not present anymore. It's not going to help. It's just going to make you fall deeper and deeper into a pit of, I don't know who I am anymore. I'm doing too many things. I'm not a human being, I'm a human doing. Learn to be assertive. There's a difference between being a bossy person and an assertive person. Assertive gives respect and commands respect. I respect you enough to respect your views. They may differ to me, but I'm not going to put you down because of it, and I don't want you to put me down either. There's no my way or the highway. It's let's figure out our way. Can we get an our way? Is it possible? Even with the rules? Can we find a gray area? Start saying no. Okay, as Asians, we don't know how to say no. Because our parents have raised us in the old school way, and it's not their fault. We're not here to blame. They were raised that way too. Yes, can do one, can. Inside, I'm dying. How am I going to do it? Oh my God, how am I going to do it? I can't do it. Actually, I can't do it. But say I can. We need to say, no, I'm sorry, I'm not able to do that. This is what I can do. And give yourself a challenge. Try something new. Go karaokeing when it's allowed. Speak to the person that you like. Go to your boss. Go to your staff. Say, look, can I have 5 minutes? There's something I need to talk about. Do it. What have we got to lose? I always say we're going to die anyway, right? May as well make use of today. Extra tips. How do you increase your self-esteem and confidence? Stop comparing with him and her and social media and the filters that are used and the money and the cars and the things that don't really matter at the end of the day. And don't pretend to be somebody you're not. I would like everybody to take a moment and just read this and understand this about ourselves. You know, when we started this talk, I asked you to ask the person next to you something about themselves. Now I would like you to turn to the person next to you, look at them in the eyes, and say this to them. Can you do that for me? I know it's going to feel weird. I know it feels weird. I know it feels weird. I'm going to do it to Yang Berbahagia Dato' Abdullah. Okay? So we'll start this together. So, all right, let's do it. If I can do it, you can do it. Turn to the person on your right or your left and say this to them. You are more precious to this world than you will ever know. You are. You just don't know it, or you don't feel it. It doesn't mean it's not true. When you value yourself, you can value your family, you can value your colleagues, you can value your family, even their imperfections. We cannot change our parents, our family, and the history, and the laws, and the rules, and the injustices. The only thing you can do is shift your reaction to it. So this is for the bosses. Okay. You think it doesn't cost a lot of money when we ignore all these things? Have a look at these facts. It costs money, man. It costs an awful lot. Absenteeism, not showing up for work. Why? I'm too sad. I'm too depressed. My bosses don't listen to me. My colleagues don't understand me. What about presenteeism? Do you know that there's actually a term? Presenteeism. I'm here, but actually my brain is not here. It's like a zombie, you know, goes to work. You know the kind? They come to work, but actually the brain is somewhere else, or the fingers are doing another business or talking to somebody. Do you know how much that costs? Businesses and the government and our lives in general? Have a look at what Sir Richard Branson said. I love this quote. Train people well enough so they can leave. Silakan, tu pintu, boleh? Go now, go. But you treat them well enough so they don't want to. I don't want to go. I'm happy here. I'm valued here. I can do something here as a human being. Please look out for some of these signs in yourself and in your loved ones and in your colleagues and the people who work with you. Not below you, not above you, but with you. Because these signs, they go unnoticed. Headache, take Panadol. Headache and crying, take Panadol and tissue. Headache and crying and saying, I want to die. Here's the Panadol, here's the tissue. Hey, quiet lah, what you got to complain about? That's not the way. We need to let go of that. Because some people are just one step away from doing something they're going to regret. Quitting a job they don't need to quit. Hitting a spouse they love. Beating a child that's innocent. Taking a drug that's going to disable them. one step away from it. And you could be the person that brings them back from that step, okay? I'll tell you that because my husband was that person for me. Every day I got paranoid until the medication helped me. I was thinking he was trying to harm me. I thought, I've lost my mind. I don't know what I'm going to do. It'd be better off if I was not here. And every day he would say, sit with me, sayang. You are okay. You are okay. You're going to get through this. You're going to get through this. If he had judged me and said, stop acting crazy, stop being this way, I think I might have crossed the line. Workplace mental health, the costs. 1 in 3 Malaysians have mental health issues. So you might have a staff or a colleague or someone under you who's acting, in your opinion, lazy, not committed, something's not okay. Talk to the person as a human being. Get them to see the counselor, get them some help. Because if they're not able to ask for help, it's your duty to ask them. So we look at the costs in general. I'm not going to go into the numbers, but you get the gist of it. So for the bosses and for all of you, here are some proactive steps you can do. Mental health training. There's a first aid mental health course that can be taken. MMHA have it. You can do a lot online. There are some mental health tests you can do online. Naluri have it. Miyasa do it. It costs very little or nothing. But the return on the investment of such a thing is so worth it. Train managers. If you see someone with a substance abuse problem, or the signs are there, they're fidgety, or they're showing up looking one kind, right? We got to pick up on this. It affects the morale of the company. It affects everyone. Last but not least, I just want to close with this. Mental health is not about where you're going. Nobody will ever be 100% healthy, physically or mentally. It's about flourishing and being at your optimal so you can contribute back to society. In Malaysia, in all the talks that I talk about, we talk about negara maju, economy yang bagus, etc., etc., picking the right leaders. We're so obsessed with the voting and the power and you know, making money, getting back the money, this, that. But at the end of the day, I always say, what about the human factor? Negara yang maju adalah negara di mana rakyat dia, kesihatan mental dan fizikal rakyatnya sehat. Tanpa kesihatan mental, tidak ada kesihatan langsung. Because you cannot perform and work and sustain it if you are not mentally strong. And a person who is getting treatment for mental health can function in society perfectly fine. Look at me. I did 25 years of entertaining people, making people laugh, making money, winning awards, while battling through depression and anxiety, and I didn't even know. So there's a side to every coin, negative and positive. Without the difficulty, without my anxiety and depression, I may not have been driven to constantly take another job, to constantly be perfect at my job. So the result was money, awards, and status. But the cost was exhaustion and burnout. There's always going to be a plus and minus to everything we do. But it's about the process. Are we going to live life in a way that we flourish, or are we just going to survive? Maksudnya setiap pagi bangun macam, alah, hari ni hari sama je dengan semalam. Sama je. Minum sama, makan sama, tengok muka sama. Sama je. Do you want 70 years to pass like that? Kalau macam tu, alhamdulillah, it's a good life. There are some people who wake up and they can't think. They cannot think. Keliru, celaru, tak boleh berfikir, terrified of going out the house, thoughts, intrusive thoughts dan sebagainya. That is not something that we have to live with. And as a society, if we remove the stigma, we don't have to live with it. So I would just like to end with that. And this last quote. So we may not be responsible for the world that created our minds, but we can take responsibility for the mind which we create our own world. Thank you. Thank you, Dalton. So what I'm going to do now is introduce to you a video that I did last year bersama dengan Damien Mikhail. Damien, if you do remember and you're familiar with, he is a award-winning singer, producer, songwriter. He has written songs for Datuk Siti Nurhaliza and many other artists, and he was from a group known as VE. So Damien and I worked together with an NGO, Awas, and they funded this video for suicide awareness. And I hope that you can take something from this video and the message that is behind the video. So please enjoy.
Terdetik di dalam hati, adakah ini yang perlu dilalui? Saban hari bertemankan kegagalan tergelincir, walau terbentang luasnya landasan, andai jatuh tersungkur, kita bangkit bersama walau luka, walaupun perih terasa, bersama-sama kita terus melangkah. You are not alone, but you feel as though you wish it all would end. Reach out your hand, just let me in, my friend. Just let us in. Ooh, as a friend.
And you may feel life isn't fair, you may feel like no one cares. Pause a while and think it through. There is always hope for you.
Bersama-sama terus melangkah, terus melangkah, terus melangkah.
Walaupun perih terasa, bersama-sama kita terus melangkah.
You are not alone. Do you feel as though your world is closing in? Reach out your hand, just let me in, my friend. Harapkan
Walaupun perih terasa, bersama-sama.
Thank you very much, Cik Puan. Okay, we go to our next session. Seterusnya
Yes.
ialah
I do believe
question
we
and
have
answer.
a Q&A
Yeah, Q&A.
session.
Nampaknya
But we
Cik
need
Puan.
some music. It's so quiet. I feel like I'm in
please.
school.
So basically, we had agreed just now, but I saw my boss. He's going to ask the first question.
Oh, okay.
Tak berani, tak
Okay.
berani, tak berani.
But everybody can ask. But we need some background music so we don't feel like it's a perhimpunan sekolah. Rasa macam semua trauma ni, muka semua trauma dah.
Where's the music, please?
Music, please.
All right. Okay.
Yes, Yang Bahagia. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum, Cik Puan. Can I address you, Cik Puan,
Waalaikumsalam.
or Sarima?
Sarima's fine.
First of all, thank you for coming and share your experience with us. I have noted three things. Probably my question straight to three things. Number one, you have mentioned about we must be able to say no.
Yes.
And to what extent that the word no is acceptable in the context of your obligation or my obligation as the manager or workers in relation to extra job that probably you say, saya boleh buat. And to what extent? Otherwise, people will start to say no to everything now because you must be able to say no. That's question number one. Question number one. Okay. Question number two, I like the statement talking about don't judge a person. Even though we know the maxim, if I may say it, maxim is don't judge a book by its cover, but sometimes book cover can make a book bestseller. You put Sarima's face there, you can have that book.
Or not.
And to this extent, probably Sarima can elaborate with your experience of the saying, say, it's not how much you know, but how much you love. And the third question is, how do we relate in a situation or in the organization like us of the mental health vis-a-vis economic situation or family economic situation? So perhaps we can have some thing from Sarima here. Thank you.
Okay, thank you Yang Bahagia. Wah, 3 soalan tu dah lupa dah yang kedua dan ketiga tu. No, I'm joking. Thank you for asking that. I knew you were going to ask Yang Bahagia, the no one. Because when I was saying it, I looked at you and the pen came out. Dun, dun, dun. I dah macam, kejap lagi korang. When I say no, it's not in a professional context. It's in a personal context. Meaning when individuals place a burden on us personally that we are not able to fulfill. What I mean is when you enter into a job, obviously you are committed to a job and the job description that is given. And we understand, even in my job, okay, for example, when I used to host live TV shows, I ended up doing the wardrobe, the script, and many, many more things than I was supposed to do. But I could personally handle that. But there were things that I couldn't, and I had to say no. And my problem was the inability to state it and ask for help from others is what drove me to burning out. Perhaps if I could have shared my difficulties, that would in some way have helped the burden. So it's not to say no to somebody asking you to do your obligations. You have a job description, you have a KPI, you do what's needed to deliver it. I am quite a perfectionist when it comes to that. When it comes to my work, I make sure that I perform and I deliver. There's no compromise for me when it comes to a professional aspect of things. But if that professional aspect requires a compromise on my health, my own personal health, then you have to know when to say no to yourself. It doesn't mean saying no to your boss or the person that's put you in that position. How do I say I'm not able to? Because in the end, you're going to say no anyway, because you can't perform. So the non-performing and the not being able to deliver the job is actually an indirect way of saying no anyway. So rather than wait and waste the resources and the time and burn the individual out, we are hoping that the individual is able to say no in a sense that I'm not able to do this alone. Can I get some support? And that's why we have people in an organization such as counselors that are there to help you relieve that burden as such. Because remember when I spoke earlier, it's not the things that happen to you that are causing you the distress. It's what's happening within you. Meaning there's something going on at home or in your personal life, and then when you go to work and you're asked to fulfill certain duties, you say, I cannot. No, we're not talking about that. Because the reason why you're saying you cannot is because you're not dealing with the personal issues already. So it is secara keseluruhan tu, the individual needs to be seen holistically. Not to say no only at the workplace. It's not one aspect of the human being. Is know where your strengths are, know when you need help. Say no to taking on the burdens if you genuinely, that's the key word, are not able to deliver. But this requires a person, as I mentioned earlier, to know themselves. If you constantly wear a mask, bertopeng, saya boleh buat semua. Last kali, gagal juga. So we need to know when to tell ourselves no. If you're not able to do it, ask for support. Voice it out before it's too late. I hope that answers it in some way. Yang berbahagia. The second question with regards to not judging a book by its cover, what I was meaning towards and what we're relating to is more this culture in Asia of how a person looks, the status, the name they carry, the titles they carry alone. Our problem is we like to look at that alone. We're not looking at the individual as a holistic being with the history they've had, the illnesses, physical problems, economic, biopsychosocial, physical, spiritual makes a human being. We like to judge based only on the physical or the social. How many likes? How many followers? How much money? So as you said, substance is always deeper than the surface. If somebody buys a book because my face is on it, maybe that's a good idea. I think I need to write a book. Thanks. Will they get through the whole book if it has no substance? They might get to chapter 1 and say, Alah, ada ni. But you could buy a book that has no face on it, but the title resonates with you. How to deal with emotional freezing, for example. But you can read the whole book. So that's what I'm talking about. More like the holistic approach to us as human beings. Not just judging based on this person's popular, he or she has a title. There's much more. The rivers run much deeper in each human being than just the surface. And we need to take the time. And we can do that in an organization. And this will answer the third question and relate to it. By getting to know each other on a slightly deeper level than just the surface level. Because the holistic person makes the complete person, which will provide the productivity as a whole and decrease absenteeism, presenteeism, and whatnot. So that's what needs to be addressed. Because if we're just addressing from the surface and just top down and I tell you to do it this way, you do it, it's never going to work. Because too many of us Asian people have been raised that way. I say it, you do it. And we have shut down to that already. And in our subconscious, kita dah cakap apa tau? Aku tak akan buat. Aku tak nak buat. Already. So we've got to find a way around it. What's your strength? What are you good at? How do I place you with what you're good at? Okay, so this behavior is not acceptable. What's causing this behavior? Mine is blame. Take away the blame aspect. What's causing you this behavior? Let's get to the root. Counselors can help with that. And counselors need to relate that back to the supervisors or the management, and there needs to be no fear in the communication there. What's going on with ABC person on a deeper level? Get to the root of that. We decrease the absenteeism, the presenteeism, the issues. I hope that answers. Thank you.
Next one. Ada lagi?
Ada soalan yang...
Please. Shimi.
Ada.
Shimi, please.
Who's this? Wah, bawa karangan lagi ni.
Oh.
Kami dah takut.
2-3 soalan maybe.
Nak nyanyi ke? Boleh tak?
Tak boleh, tak erti.
Boleh?
Okay,
Kini kau ada.
Permission to open the mask,
Yeah, you can. Kalau tak, memang it's not going to be possible.
Yeah, okay. All right. First of all, Cik Puan, thank you very much. That is a very good presentation that you've done there, sharing of knowledge and the like. I just got one question.
Yeah.
How do you get people to open up? All right. When you realize they have the symptoms of what you mentioned earlier, right?
Yeah.
Because human beings, they have ego and denial, and what is your advice on the matter?
Right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
That's why you see not many seeing the counselors and the like.
Yes. It's quite scary, right? I was speaking to Sharifah last night, and she said to me, nobody wants to come and see me. Lepas ni korang semua enroll, okay? Put the name down, and I would like to ask that the bosses do it first. Because as humans, we learn by role modeling. We don't learn with instruction. You know, what's a chat with the counselor going to do in a day? What have you got to lose? What have you got to lose? 10 minutes? Let's talk about something that's bothering me. It's confidential. Let me get it off my chest. I might go out of here with a slight more spring in my step. A little bit more energy. A little bit more space that I can give back to my job. No harm. Nothing lost. Only gain. Okay, so to answer the question, how do you get people to open up? Gotta ask my husband that. You can't do it directly. When you talked about ego, a lot of us say, egonya dia. My husband's so ego, you know. My father's so ego, my mother's so ego. It's not ego. Let's take away the negative perception about ego. It's a coping skill. Dia dari kecil, kalau bersuara tentang perasaan, dah kena sepak. Dah kena suruh diam. So bila dah besar, of course kita takut nak cerita dengan orang apa kesusahan kita, apa yang perit, apa yang susah, apa yang kita rasa. Sebab dah biasa. We are conditioned as a society, and that's why the world is at war. Because we've lost the touch, the human connection to ourselves. And that's why we're so desensitized now. Oh, another war ke? Oh, okay. Another war, more people dying, more children dying. Because we are no longer seeing the human aspect of things. What is driving this politician to behave this way? The loss of himself. No connection with his human self already. This is why people behave that way. None of us came out of our mothers like Donald Trump. Donald Trump didn't come out of his mother saying, I'm going to build a wall. No. Things happen to people along the way that affect them, and this is why I relate it back to trauma. And this changes people's mindset and behavior over time. You only see the result. We never see the why. You see a drug addict, don't ask why the addiction, you ask why the pain. What is the pain behind somebody drinking? What is the pain behind somebody going in and out of a marriage over and over and over and over and over and over again? There's something going on in the person. The coping skill is denial. No, I'm fine. Because if I don't deny it, then I have to tell you about my pain. It's too difficult. Because we've been trained since small. No time to talk. Why are you crying? Boys don't cry. Hey, why are you crying? Stop crying. There's nothing to... You want me to give you something to cry about? Huh? So just think about how people are raised. Don't cry. Why are you upset? Why are you showing long face? So I can never show long face. I can never cry. It means I have to always fake it. I have to smile all the time. Or that's when you see anger outbursts. So the way to approach somebody, there's many ways, and you can speak to Sharifa and Michelle, who are professionally trained counselors. They can give you more information in depth. I can only give you my experience. Is to sit with the person and be vulnerable and say, you know what? I'm going through something myself, and I see that you're in pain some way. And if you need someone, I'm here. I'm here. Just let them know I'm here. Don't offer advice if you're not asked for it, because that is seen as patronizing. Hey, you should do this, you should do that. No, don't do this to people, because you're making them feel like children again. So there's a long process, and people will not open up straight away. Like now, today, when I asked many of you to put your hands up, not many people, I could see people's faces like, I want to put my hands, but I can't do it. My hand won't do it. We went to schools where you keep quiet, you get in line, you sing, you sit, you write, you go home. We didn't go to schools like they have in other countries where you can express yourself and, say what you're feeling. So this is why we are stuck economically and stuck in so many ways. It's not to say we need to compromise on our values and follow their values. We can maintain our values as Malaysians and our religious values. We can maintain that. But we can also open up a bit more and connect with each other more. That's the missing element. Ada tak soalan lagi? Soalan bercinta ke soalan apa-apa?
Sebelah. On my right side.
Kakak-kakak tak ada soalan?
Come on. Sarimah.
Hi. Ada this table ada? Yes. Silakan.
Assalamualaikum.
Waalaikumsalam.
Betul.
Nama siapa?
Saya Dayang
Roziah.
From this table.
From this table. Wah, this table. Oh, this table.
Ladies table.
Oh, the ladies table.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. All ladies.
First of all, that you said being a trainer about 25 years.
Yes.
Isn't it?
Yes.
So now, my question is that how you overcome your stress as being a public figure, and then within that 25 years until you reach to this level.
Right. Thank you. Okay. Well, I was bullied as a child very badly. I was beaten up in school. When I was in Sekolah Rendah Kebangsaan, I was too Mat Saleh. When I went overseas, I was too Asian. So I got beaten up in both schools. No, I mean beaten up bad lah. Dekat luar negara, they beat me until my head cracked. Yeah, on the canteen floor. Bsh, bsh, bsh. This girl with red hair jumped on my face and smashed my head open. Trauma. That's a small picture of my upbringing. Okay, and then along the way, a lot of things happen. And in this dunia artis, a lot of people don't know that we don't have any rights. Like when we sign contracts, for example, for many years, I was told, don't even cut your hair without permission of the TV station. Don't gain weight. If you gain weight, you go off air, even like 2-3 kilos. If your skin's not nice, you better go to a doctor and take an illegal drug or whatever is needed to make your skin nice. We don't care as long as you look perfect. Sexual harassment, normal for me. You don't go on holiday with the producer to Bali, you're not getting season 2 of XX show. Yeah? A lot of stuff like that happens in this glamorous industry. But it's still a great industry. Because every job has the crap and has the great. Yeah, like I said, there's two sides to every coin. So the more higher the stakes are, the more the stress. Okay? We accept that. And you know, if you're going into this game, you're going to play this game and you're going to do it right. You just got to be smart about it. I thought I was being smart by doing more and more and more. I had a family member who had cancer while I was shooting AF, and I had to go live, and I found out just before I went live, and I had to entertain 3 million people. I found out another person that I care about deeply committed suicide just before I hosted an MC job. Don't worry, nothing happened to me today, I'm okay. So what I'm saying is, every job and every career you choose, there will be difficulties, and I accept that. But I should have said no in some situations where I was harassed, where I was violated as a human being, where I had to compromise values, like I had to do a wardrobe fitting for one of the shows, and they made me wear short skirts and come out and stand in front of the bosses and parade. And I was 26, and I said, I don't want to do it. Malu. And they said, if you don't do it, we're not giving you this show, sorry, ma. So I did it, and I cried the whole night. So all these things, they build up in you as a human being. And that's what I mean, Yang Berbahagia, when I say knowing when to say no, when your values are compromised as a human. And I had my breakdown in 2019. After I had my daughter, I think it built up. You know, we're like volcanoes, human beings. We can tahan and tahan and tahan and tahan, and some people just boom. I didn't boom. I sort of went psst, like a KFC bucket. And it slowly happened to me. But I'm glad it happened, because if I didn't have that moment, people call it a breakdown, I call it an awakening. Because then you wake up. You wake up to your real talents, your real strengths, and that's why I'm here today. If I did not go through that in 2019, I would not be able to talk to you today and pass on this knowledge to you. I would not have become the patron of Miasa. I would not have done the Harapan video. I would not have spread the awareness on mental health. I would not have had at least 300 messages DMing me every second day saying, I need help. I'm giving up on life. Can you please help me, Sarima, direct me to a place to get mental health assistance? I wouldn't be able to do that if I hadn't been through that. So ada hikmah di sebalik semua yang kita lalui, yang susah. I know it seems a bit like cliche, but it's true. So I went through it with the assistance of my husband, close family. Not all family can accept it, yeah? Some will say, you drama only. You drama one. Why are you so drama? Right? Some family will say, nonsense, you're fine. But there are those who will say, okay, come, we need to go see somebody now and get help. And of course, I had to take medication for a short period of time. So I don't see any difference though. When they first asked me to take medication, I was like, no, I'm not crazy. I'm not going to be one of those people that takes medicine. No. But then I'm like, can I have a Panadol? I need Panadol every 4 hours. What's the difference? Some things are needed for certain periods of time. If you have diabetes or kencing manis, you have to take medication for a short period of time, get yourself back on track, and then you stop. It's the same. It's just we see it differently. Hope that answers your question. Thank you. Ada soalan lagi?
Lagi. The one just now? Come. Siapa tu?
Oh, it's a lady. Yep. Hi.
21.
Kesian tau, mic semua tinggi-tinggi sini, ha? Abang music, kenapa music tu makin lama makin menurun? Lapar ya? Kejap lagi kita makan. Hello, hi.
Hi, I'm Michelle.
Hi, Michelle.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yang the one yang you mentioned.
Yes. Are you okay, Michelle? Are you okay? Can we give a round of applause for Michelle? You hear people's problems. Does anybody hear yours?
Not yet.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so I have like 3 questions.
3 juga.
sikit-sikit je.
Ada buku sikit apa?
Okay, my first question is about your experience when you were getting regarding your mental health issue.
Okay.
How was your experience? I mean,
Horrible.
how bad was that? How good was that? What was your feeling? So you might want to share about it.
Okay.
And then the next one is, okay, what is your advice to supervisor who might have staff that been diagnosed with mental health issues?
Right, diagnosed already?
Yes.
Oh,
And,
okay.
You know, I mean, what is your advice? Maybe they have been acting crazy, the behavior not acceptable. So, what is your little advice about that?
Acting crazy like how, Michelle?
What I
Because
mean
some
is-
people act crazy and we say it's socially acceptable crazy.
Okay, what I mean is maybe they're suddenly bad mood and they're suddenly crying.
Sounds like me, but how?
Okay, but because you know, we have been lacking in terms of mental health awareness.
Right.
So people might not able to accept this kind of thing.
Okay.
The last one is, what is your opinion regarding people's stigma towards mental health issues? Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Michelle. Michelle, so you're a counselor, right? Okay, cool. Do you see a lot of people? Do people come to you? Enough? A lot? Okay, everybody say hi, Michelle. Okay, 150 people said hi to you. Get ready for it. You and Sharifah. Sorry, guys, girls. How was it when I went through it? I didn't know I was going through a mental health issue until it became too late. Like, I was going through mental health issues through that whole video and I didn't know. I just knew that sometimes I couldn't sleep. I sometimes was shaky, sweating. I had too many thoughts in my head. I was in and out of relationships. I had a divorce. I blamed everything on him. It was my fault also, but we do a lot of blaming when you're in a mental health condition. I always saw myself as a victim. Do you know what I mean? Do you know people that always say, it's poor me, poor me, poor me. I did nothing wrong. Yeah, so that kind of mindset was often where I was. But after I gave birth, like I mentioned earlier, I woke up and I was actually lying down on the ground in my room, gripping the carpet because I couldn't breathe. I really could not breathe. I felt like I had to control my own breathing, which is a very scary thing. And I used to be a scuba diver. I'm an advanced scuba diver. And so breathing is something that comes I'm quite good at it. You know, I can go through a tank with maybe very little air when I dive. I did 302 dives. But on my final dive, and I never dived since then, my regulator broke and the air did this. But the regulator said it's still half. So it was a broken regulator and I ran out of oxygen and I was at 30 meters. And nobody was around me. My buddy was far ahead of me. And that's the exact same feeling I had the day that I realized I need to go and see a psychiatrist. Like I ran out of air. Can't breathe. It was horrifying. And I wish that I had seen the signs before that slowly, but I didn't pick it up. And I have a background in psychology, imagine. But anyway, much good has come of it since then. Thank God. Alhamdulillah. Your second question is about the supervisors and the bosses. If someone's been diagnosed, depends on the diagnosis. Is it schizophrenia? Is it bipolar? Is it mild depression, acute depression? What is it? Is it anxiety? Are they taking medication to deal with symptoms? Like I said, it's like diabetes or cancer or kidney issues. You can function and you can flourish. It's the stigma that makes the person act more awkward, I believe. Trying to hide it makes the person behave weird. If I came into work tomorrow and I said to you, I think I'm not feeling well hari ni. You know, my diabetes is really bad. I think I need to go home. What would you say to me? Go home, right? Go and rest, kan? Sihan kau. Better go home now, take medicine. But if I came to you and I said to you, my bipolar is really bad today. I can't focus, I can't think, I'm really down, I'm really depressed. You'd probably say, why lah? You're okay, what? So why do we treat it so differently? I would say empathy. Knowing that a staff or a person has a diagnosis, you need to catch it early, speak to that member of staff, say to them, okay, what does this mean? Again, what are you capable of doing? What's your difficulty? Just like anything else. If somebody just came out of hospital with cancer, you wouldn't throw them into the deep end and say, okay, you just finished your radiotherapy, your chemotherapy, now go and do all of this. You would know how to do it. You would have your SOPs. You would understand the limitations until they get better. So I don't see there being any difference. And then there's also people who can flourish with a mental health condition. Many people, high functioning. Lagi dia tak okay, lagi dia punya kerja bagus. There are some. And we mistaken it. Bagusnya dia, we reward them. Bagusnya dia, overtime kau-kawan. Here, you are the best staff, you are the best this, you are the best that. Tomorrow tak datang kerja, why? Couldn't handle it. That's why I talked about crossing the line earlier. So we got to be careful with rewarding and punishing people in our society. When we reward someone, are we rewarding them for burning themselves out, or are we rewarding them genuinely for putting in effort? There's a difference. Because effort is just as good. And the third question was, what was the third question again? Stigma. I think you know my answer to that question. I mean, stigma is what does stigma mean in a layman's term? Judgment lah. We don't judge people who have cancer or diabetes, or we feel bad for them. But if someone says, you know, I have a genetically predisposed cause and it's been triggered, or someone died and I'm going through depression, why do we need them to recover so fast? Faster, get better. But if they have cancer or something, it's slowly. Take your time, get better properly. It's because we're afraid. We judge things that we're afraid of. The less we are afraid, the less we will judge. Any more questions?
Come on.
I'm sure many people are thinking now about a lot of things in their head, or things they've seen or feel. And I know a lot of people are hungry lah, Dalton.
Belum lagi. Boleh tahan ni. Ni boleh tahan.
Okay, we have one more question from Yang Bahagia. I love it.
Well, we have to make full use of this opportunity.
Yes.
Perhaps Sarima did talk about stress. And in the stress, I want to put it into perspective, stress versus capability and capacity.
Okay.
Sometimes, if your capability and capacity is higher than the obligation that you're supposed to do, probably you don't feel it stress.
True.
Because you enjoy it. But deep in yourself, there's a term called mental health, which probably triggers somewhere, which we thought that we are not stressed, but actually we are stressed.
Yes.
What is your advice?
Okay.
I believe it could be some situation or scenario like that. We thought everything is okay. Do this, done. Do this, done. Achieve this, achieve that. Accolade here, accolade here.
Yes.
But actually you are stressed.
Yes.
So what is your advice?
Thank you, Yang Bahagia. Usually that's when a person's an overachiever or a person has actually burnt out already. Sometimes, okay, in a normal state of being, a person's in the green zone, okay? But when a person goes into adrenaline release, you don't even know. If you, since childhood, have been subject to many childhood adversities, like you've been abused physically, mentally, emotionally, sexually, or you've been bullied at school, or you've been in an environment that's difficult, or raised in a poverty-stricken environment, there is a higher correlation that you will be running on adrenaline as an adult. When you're running on adrenaline, you're in fight or flight mode, which means your brain is no longer connected to your true self, gone already. Which means you're in red zone already. Traffic light, no more green, no more orange, you're in red. You've been running in red since small. You no longer know how to read yourself because you've forgotten long ago who you really are. Now you only know how to do. Do. Go on holiday. After holiday, come back, do the work. Even on holiday, doing the work. Bringing the laptop. Go here, sitting with your family. You still need to talk about work because you can't sit in green. Because your brain is addicted already, and this is scientifically proven, addicted to the hormones that come with being in red. Some people are addicted to stress because that's the only way they know how to exist, and that was me. And many high-achieving CEOs and some of the biggest, names in the industry, whether it's technology, IT, entertainment, these are people who suffer with a lot of mental health issues. Sports people, as we've seen, have come out and spoken about it. Look at Naomi Osaka. She came out and everyone was like, "What? You're so young. How can you be depressed?" Well, high achievement, maybe since small, she's been training so much, she doesn't even know that she's burnt out. Yeah? I mean, when you are running on adrenaline all the time, this is why we talk about gejala, the symptoms to look out for. If you're not able to sleep, if you're feeling empty and down for prolonged periods of time, if when you're on holiday you cannot just relax, this is a warning sign for you. Why do you need to keep doing? Because you're running away from being. That is a warning sign number 1. Ding! Number 2, you start seeing your health. Are you developing respiratory issues, more bronchitis, more coughing? Do you have some issues with your health that keep popping up? Warning sign number 2. Ding! Okay? Number 3, your wife or husband says, "You don't connect with me. You don't love me anymore. You're not here when you're here. What's with the presentism?" Ding! These are all the warning signs we get all the time, but we ignore them. That's why I say, go to a therapist before it gets too late. We are not going to a therapist to fix something that's broken. We are going to a therapist to maintain our mental health. We are going to make sure we don't get broken. This is the stigma that needs to be turned around. You don't go to the doctor, okay, you break your leg. Do you say, I wait lah a few days. I see how lah, maybe the bone will grow back one. Or you're bleeding, never mind lah, let it bleed lah. We see how later. No. We should be the same with our mental health. If you see these warning signs, you go quickly. Just in case. Before the infection mentally seeps in, catch it and clean it fast. Because once you're infected, you have a bigger task to clean it out. That's how I see it. I hope that answers it to an extent.
Would like to ask more here.
Okay.
Because sometimes orang Sarawak ni malu-malu, segan dia cakap, nak cakap.
So yang berbahagia yang bertanya
dia
on
bagi
behalf.
bos cakap lah.
Okay, boleh. Tak apa.
Okay, yang satu yang tadi kita tunjuk gambar, di mana Sarimah tunjuk gambar, orang yang sakit ini lower immunity.
Yes.
Okay.
Betul.
Jadi dalam konteks ni saya selalu juga tekankan tentang kelemahan mungkin dalam budaya kita ialah bagaimana kita berkomunikasi itu tidak jelas ataupun penerimaan terhadap komunikasi kita dilihat sebaliknya. Dan ini boleh lead to mental health ataupun stres ataupun sebagainya. Sebab dalam konteks Malaysia, saya fikir kalau kita sebut sekali gila, orang kata negatif.
Betul.
Kalau sebut 2 kali gila-gila, positif.
Okey.
Jadi dia nak sebut 2 kali, dia ni gila-gila sikit tapi positif.
Betul.
Now That relates to the stigma that Sharimah probably highlighted just now is, if you are encountering somebody out there yang nampak dari segi fizikal dia sudah pun gila lah di luar sana, berjalan tanpa arah.
Okay.
Dan orang ini kalau kita kata lower immunity, tapi tak juga kalau orang lain COVID, dia tak COVID.
Okay.
Kan? How do you explain that? Because those people who are well good then got COVID, but these people homeless,
and they're
but
okay.
you said they are lower immunity, but they haven't got COVID. They're still alive till today. How do you explain that in the relation of the organization or the people?
Okay.
But probably if I want to start seeing my counselor tomorrow,
yes,
then people put in the Facebook, director see counselor already.
Okay.
But that is a stigma. That is a stigma. Okay. Perhaps you can put in a nutshell, how do you look at it in terms of your experience and how that improve our communication skill to avoid a situation where people commit what you call just now suicide or commit something that they would regret. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, Yang Bahagia. It's true what you said. But first, if you do go and see the counselor, it's because we are encouraging it. Yes, together today. It's not because, like I said, we don't see a counselor when we're broken. We go to maintain our health. You don't go to the dentist to check something when your tooth's falling out. You go to check when there's a bit of pain. It's the same. When you talk about immunity, there is a percentage, and that is something that is scientifically proven. People who have mental health issues do have a lower immunity, but we don't necessarily die from COVID. We don't necessarily die from infections and diseases. A person could be walking the streets and have cancer or HIV or diabetes or kidney infections or lung infections and be alive the moment we see them, but yet collapse the next day. Remember, it always comes down to crossing that last final line. And that applies physically too, of course. Many people we know, and in celebrities, hari ini sehat, bos pun sehat. The next day, oh, Allah alam, tiba-tiba heart attack. Or died suddenly. Yeah, so it's the same application with mental health. A person could be walking around looking perfectly fine and then cross that line the next day. That is the moment they smack their wife too hard or child. Or that is the moment that they leave the marriage. Or that is the moment that they drive the car through the red lights. And that's it. So what is the decisions that are leading up to that situation? That's what we're trying to catch before it gets too late. Of course, it's a percentage of lowered immunity. The correlation is there. When they talk about immunity, it doesn't mean necessarily COVID or specific, but they're talking, there is a high percentage of people who have had heart attacks, and the correlation between heart attacks and having depression is extremely high. So when we talk about immunity, we're not necessarily talking about viruses. We're talking about these types of acute problems, etc. So I don't know. Perhaps the person, and we do see people walking the streets, they may have many health conditions that we're not aware of. And it just takes maybe by tomorrow. So it's hard to say. Just as we say, we don't know. We can't judge a book by its cover.
Right. Thank you.
How are we doing, Dale?
Yep. There's a question from Sarimah to Sarimah.
There's a Sarimah?
Yes.
Yay!
We do have a Sarimah here.
Hi, Sarimah! That's so cool. I never get to speak to somebody with my name.
Hi. Chipan Sarima. I'm Puan Sarima.
Yay.
No Chi in front.
Now I feel like I'm having some sort of mental issue. I'm talking to myself.
It's glad to see you.
And you?
Saya Sarima bertugas di Jabatan Tanah dan Sebahagian Sibu.
Okay.
Saya pegawai penilaian. Dan tugas saya dan rakan-rakan lain yang sengatan dengan saya adalah mengambil balik tanah, membuat pengambilan balik tanah.
Okay.
Okay, sebagaimana yang Puan beritahu tadi, tanah is is sensitive, it's personal, dan disebabkan itu terlalu banyak ragam yang kita facing now.
Okay, such as?
Yes, we as a Velo pernah acquire kubur, rumah kediaman, banyak the lots of kind of properties now.
Okay.
Of course kita akan facing dengan pelbagai ragam manusia. Sometimes kita akan terima
panggilan,
kritikan, marah, agresif, jumpa dengan pelbagai orang.
Okay.
So it's maybe not my question, but just an advice how to control our anger as a professional, bekerja secara profesional. Dan sometimes that kemarahan sometimes akan memberi stres kepada kita.
Yes.
And sometimes trauma also.
Yes.
Okay.
Dia akan trigger apa yang ada dalam diri kita.
Yes, every time when facing public yang agresif akan memberi impact kepada kita.
Yelah, kata-kata kasar keluar semua kan pada kita. So is your question how to answer back lah? Maksudnya macam mana kita nak kontrol diri kita lah.
Kontrol diri kita dan menangani stres dalam life kita after work.
Yes, okay.
Kita ada family dan
faham?
Okay, itu saja soalan saya.
Thank you, Sarima. Thank you. Okay, so this is a very important question actually. So oftentimes, right, it's not about the trigger. The trigger can be a very small thing. In a gun, the trigger is small, but the ammo that we carry, the defense mechanism, is what determines how big kita meletup. So if I shoot something at you, my trigger is small, but if you're carrying a huge ammo about that thing, dia lagi besar. But if I shoot the same at you, you might have a small reaction to it. So again, it depends on our past history, upbringing dan sebagainya, and our mental health state at that moment in time. So if you're getting calls, of course, that are macam kata-kata kasar, orang tengah marah, orang tengah stress, first thing you need to understand is it's not personal. Don't take it personal. Susah, easier, much easier said than done. Our problem is we take things personally because of our history. Maybe we have been disrespected, we have been diperkecilkan, orang pernah cakap dengan kita, kita bodoh, kita tak pandai ni. So bila kita berhadapan dengan orang on the line or wherever yang say things to us like, engkau ni, engkau that, engkau this, how dare you, dia akan trigger benda tu. So kita kena separate ourselves from that moment sedikit. Objectively, you need to get in touch with that person's pain. So the first thing you can say is, I hear you, I know you're upset. Of course you're upset. However, and they will keep coming with the ammo because that's something they're carrying. It's something very strong and personal to them. But you cannot judge them. And don't fight emotions with logic. I'm losing my voice now. Sorry. Don't fight emotions with logic because you will never win. And why do you want to win? If somebody's emotionally distressed, you must never use logic. Don't give them the facts, but this is the cost, this is the amount, this is the rule, this is the this. It's not going to work. You need to calm yourself down because remember, you're being triggered. Kita yang perasaan kat sini, dia ni kan kurang ajar punya bahasa. How dare this? When you hear this in yourself, you calm yourself down and then speak objectively. Relate to the person. That person is in pain. That's why the words are coming out, kata-kata kasar. It's not about you, it's their feelings. So my only advice would be again to speak to Sharifah and also to Michelle because they are your counselors. And these are the questions that you can talk to them about. They can give you some tips on how to cope with it.
All right.
Thank you.
Again, yes, Fina, please. Another valuer. She's a valuer.
Hello.
Good afternoon, Sarima.
Afternoon.
Oh, afternoon.
What's your name?
I'm Fina.
Fina.
Yes.
Okay. Hi, Fina.
Yeah, I'm valuer from HQ.
Okay.
I've been admiring you from my school days. It's an honor to have you here.
I feel so old right now.
Okay, I'm not sure whether this is a question or not. It's just saya cuma nak recap balik apa yang few of my colleagues has been mentioned about reach out. It even mentioned in your video clip just now. I don't know about others, tapi when the video clips play just now, it brought tears to me. I don't know why. Okay. All right.
You got triggered a bit.
I think the word reach out means a lot because I have friends, just for information, maybe Michelle or Puan Sharifah can correct me. Let's survey in this department, we are the first department yang ada lebih daripada 15 orang hemat sokongan pekerja yang support counselor. And we have not been used yet.
Wow.
Oh yeah, okay. That is why bila ditanya kenapa kita tak refer or we don't open up or we don't reach out to our counselor, kita pun ada stigma tak boleh reach out to the counselor, and even dengan hemat sokongan pekerja yang more or less macam rakan sebaya masa dekat sekolah-sekolah dulu, tak juga di refer what more to say to the counselor.
Kenapa?
That is why go back to your topic, we are fighting our war in silence, maybe. To
In
me,
silence, okay.
Yeah, to me personally, because I cannot say I'm a survivor, but I have my own war to fight, and I fought until I still standing here now. And
Congratulations.
I'm a bit proud of what we
Well done.
It's not been easy, but
well done. I know, it's hard.
Being in the department, which is very challenging, as Serima has mentioned just now, we have expectation from our department as well as in the family.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's a two different world.
I'm
you
sure.
go to the office, you wear this mask.
You go home?
You go home, you wear another
mask.
mask. So it's kind of hypocrite, but it's a way to survive.
It's a coping mechanism.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So not a question actually. It's a problem to reach out. And also to recap, Hashimi mentioned just now, Hashimi was saying about voicing out.
Yes.
To me, it's not voicing, it's also a reach out. Kita nak buka kepada orang benda yang kita simpan, that we, as much as we could, we want to keep it to ourselves.
Yeah.
But it's too much to cope actually. But you don't know how to reach out. And I must say, mungkin ego ataupun a part of us mentioned that, why should I let somebody know about it?
Why
when I still
should?
can, yeah. So I personally think it's actually bukannya masalah stigma sangat pun, tapi it's reach out to that extent, you not open to the people about what happened to you.
Right.
Macam tadi director kata kalau dia tiba-tiba jumpa kaunselor, mesti kita kata, wow, ting-tong ke apa? Director pergi jumpa kaunselor, no?
Gila-gila ke? Gila.
Yeah, yes. So kalau
kau gila-gila ke?
Yes, if director dah jumpa kaunselor, what more to say us, right?
Yes, yes.
So kita merasa macam, teruk sangat ke jalan survey ni, you know?
Okay,
that's all fun. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. And I'm glad that you hinted a bit on your own personal struggles there. Thank you. That's great because everybody in this room has a bit of gila-gila and a bit of gila. If you think that you don't, then you're for sure gila. The most not gila are the ones that say, I'm a little bit gila. It's the ones that say, I'm fine. That's the ones that we need to watch out a little bit and take care. Because I was one of them. I'm fine. No problem with me. Even when I was on the floor, I still said, maybe it's a heart attack. Maybe I can't breathe because it's a heart attack. I don't think I need meds. No, I'm fine. I can do this. No. Psychiatrist came, therapist came, medicine came, family came. 6 months later, then I was fine. Alhamdulillah. Took a lot of work. Very painful. Very painful. Like I said, when the infection sets in mentally, you need to go in. You cannot put a plaster. Kita ni suka pakaikan plaster tau. Pergi holiday nak. Tengah stres ni. Pergi holiday nak. MCO start. Alamak. Tak boleh pergi holiday. Malam-malam, for those who go clubbing and go out. Let's go clubbing. Let's go party. Let's go have happy hours. Jom. MCO comes. I can't do that anymore. What do I do now? All the plasters is the coping mechanism, but the infection is still underneath, and we need to get to the root core of what's bothering you. So, if the support is there, please utilize it within the company is all I can say, because not every company that I work with, they don't have a counselor, they don't have people there to support. So utilize it to the max. But it's a shame thing. Shame. Kat Malaysia ni kita suka guna tau perkataan shame. Not only Malaysia, actually Asian. such a shame, you didn't this. Why so shameful? Kita ni memang suka shaming each other tau. Sikit-sikit malu, jatuh maruah, jatuh muka, berkongsi cerita. Janganlah bagi tahu orang pasal hal rumah tangga, simpan je lah. I'm not saying go to the office and tell everybody your dirty laundry problems. I'm saying go to the professional and share where it's an appropriate, professional, safe environment. That's what we need to do more. And there's no shame in that. The shame is when, you know what is the biggest shame? To lose your life not really living and only doing. That is a shame. What a shame to look back when you're 70 or 80 and say, I don't know who I am anymore. I played so many characters in my life. I should have an Academy Award, each and every single one of us, because I don't know who I am anymore. Who are you as a human being? It is a shame to lose that person until you are no longer here. So I would say that's the hikmah di sebalik getting mental health assistance, because you can find out who you really are once again.
All right. Yeah? Boleh? Dah? Yes. Oh, you want another, maybe one more question, maybe?
Maybe you can have one last question.
One more question, please.
Before we close this.
Ada tu di belakang tu. Oh.
Thank you.
Landas.
Hi.
Hello. My name is Sabrina.
Sabrina?
Yep.
Okay, hi Sabrina.
I'm a planning officer from Muka Division.
Okay, planning officer.
Yes.
Cool.
I think I've watched you in Disney Bus many years back.
That's 24 years ago.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Do I still look nice? Saja. We're all worried about the same things.
Okay. So my question is that because I've known quite a lot of friends and family members that have been diagnosed with mental illness.
Okay.
They've consulted with counselors, psychiatrists, they take medication and stuff.
Yep.
But they don't fully recover. So how do we actually deal with this kind of problems? Like you want to help, but you don't know how to help. Like you've been listening, but they keep on happening.
Siaran ulangan tu banyak.
Yes. So what can we do more?
Okay, thank you. So you see, the thing is, right, you can get a blood test to measure diabetes or cancer or any other disease. But you can't get a blood test for mental health conditions. There's no blood test for depression, there's no blood test. So unfortunately, as human beings, if we can't see it on paper, we don't believe it. Or we misdiagnose, or we mistreat it also, in the sense that it takes a while to find, and I must admit, to find the right doctor. So that is a barrier. It is a difficult thing to find the appropriate treatment for each individual. Because some people are treated for anger management, but it's not actually anger, it's sadness. Depression is underneath the anger, but they're only showing the anger as a coping skill. So we think they need to go for anger management classes. And then we give them medication to calm them down. Padahal sebenarnya that person is suffering from deep-rooted depression. So what they actually need is something to boost their moods. So if they get misdiagnosed and it's not the truth of what they're actually going through, we have another problem. So we need to be careful with the treatment that's offered too, and that's why you need to see a registered, proper, professional psychiatrist who can actually do a thorough check of you. Because I know of a lot of people who are being given the wrong medication. I know people who are being misdiagnosed as well. So we need to be careful with that. That is a genuine concern. And that's why we need more psychiatrists in Malaysia, and we need to open up the stigma, to remove the stigma and talk about it. Because the less we talk about it, the less people are being diagnosed, the less people are being treated, the more children they're having, and the children are being traumatized. The children grow up, become abusive, or suffer from mental health conditions, and we have a cycle that's repeating in our communities, never ending. So don't ever take it lightly when you see like a mother or a father suffering, because for every parent that suffers, there's a whole generation that's going to suffer after them. It's a domino effect. If a mother has postnatal, the chances and the correlation of the child growing up and abusing substances and becoming a drug addict is much higher. So the effect is long term. So it is a difficult thing. And that's why you need a professional and you need to follow up with it. And yes, I understand. Somebody comes to you, they have a problem, you try to help them and they still have the same problem the next day and the next month and the next year. What's the best thing you can do? Take care of yourself first. I know it sounds weird. You keep giving to that person too much, you need to know how to say no and take care of yourself also. And you tell the person straight, I can only do this much for you, and I'm here for you. I love you, I'm caring for you, but this is the most that I can do. Can I help you to get more support? Because a lot of the time, the carers are the people that need a lot of help too. So thank you. Thank you for all your questions. And once again, thank you for having me here. Thank you, Dalton, for being the MC today. And thank you to Yang Berbahagia and to everyone. And thank you so much for having me here, inviting me here, Yang Berusaha and Cik Awang, Zamhari and your team, and to all of you. I hope that you walk away today not feeling traumatized, but that you walk away today feeling empowered, knowing that A, you're not alone, B, we can help each other. It is possible. Treatment is there. C, please contact Sharifa and Michelle more often. Bosses, please go for it. I'm sure you're stressed. There's no way you're not stressed. So go for it. A session or two to relieve the stress. It's just like a massage for the mind. And once again, thank you for having me here. I'm so happy to be in Miri, and I'm going back tonight to KL, and I hope to see you all again, inshallah.
Thank you, Cik Puan.
Maybe we can work together and do something fun, where we can turun padang and work on something together.
Why not?
Thank you very much.
Okay,
Thank
mohon,
you.
mohon Cik Puan to stay on the
okay,
stage.
ada sesuatu?
Kita menjemput Yang Berbahagia Datuk Pengarah bersama-sama dengan Yang Berusaha Timbalan Pengarah untuk ke atas pentas untuk majlis penyampaian cenderahati. To Cik Puan Sarima, something from the Land and Survey Department, so that you can maybe come back. Photographers, please. Maybe Dato', Yang Berbahagia Dato', I would like to invite all the ADs together on stage, please, for a group photo with Cik Puan Sarima. Please. Persilakan. Wah, dengan kamera handphonenya sekali. Sekejap, sekejap. After this, all of us will have a photo with Cik Puan Sarima. Not individually, of course. All right. Okay. Thank you very much. All right. Another group photo, Cik Puan. Sekali lagi, maybe for oh, okay. It means that the director wants us to come over. Mari, semua. Everybody, come. Situ. Kita orang dari sini. Orang kita dari situ. Datuk Mak pergi situ. Come. Mari, sila. Naik. Siapa yang mau naik atas pentas boleh. Siapa yang nak di bawah boleh. Siapa nak di atas boleh. Mari. Ada. Majlis mengucapkan ribuan terima kasih kepada yang berbahagia, Datuk Pengarah, Timbalan Pengarah, Penolong Pengarah, and also a big round of applause to Cik Puan Sarimah. Thank you very much for coming. Ya. Terima kasih semua. Baiklah, selesai sudah tu cara majlis kita untuk tengah hari ini. Okey, belum selesai sepenuhnya. Dan dengan ini majlis dengan hormatnya menjemput dan persilakan yang berbahagia Datuk Pengarah bersama-sama dengan pegawai-pegawai kita lain untuk kejamuan tengah hari. Alright, jamuan tengah hari, and I'll be hoping that all of us will be back to this hall by 2:15. 2:15? By 2:15 please. 2:15, pukul 2:15 masuk semula ke dalam Dewan, so that we can continue for our next session, a balanced scorecard. Thank you very much.
Bahkan tak dapat sebelah mata dari pandanganmu. Ini aku yang baru. Tak lagi di kuasamu. Tak perlu gelitik aku tertawa. Kulihat ada yang lucu. Ini aku yang dulu namanya terus jadi sisipan tiap leluconmu. Ini aku yang baru. Tak lagi di kuasamu, nikmatilah. Kuasamu.